everyone who follows you in your social media, who opts into your ads, they're all looking for a bigger version of themselves and using you as a vehicle to get there in some way, shape, or form. They all, like, that's the only reason that they would pay you guys money. It's not to make life worse.
Sell the metal. Sell the metal. Sell the metal. Sell the metal. Sell the metal.
The first thing I kind of want to go through in all this stuff is like why people get results and why some people don't get results. I think it's a really big topic that's probably worth communicating at some point at the same time too, right? The biggest thing that I like to talk about is like, why do people, or one of the biggest things I like to think about a lot is like, why do people buy, right? Like what makes someone buy and what makes someone want to do something that genuinely makes them decide to change what they want to do in their life and make changes for the better and all this stuff as well, if that makes sense, right? Something that I have noticed is like some people are better at it than others, and some people are better at self-regulating and making decisions for themselves, and some people are just fucking trash at it and need to be put in front of their faces and we're checking for. That's kind of like why sales is sales and why marketing is marketing, all this stuff as well. And one of the things that's worked really well is like, I think there needs to be a few things in order for you to be able to create change of some sort. You need to be able to know where you want to go. So this is what your clients will need. They would need to be able to know where they want to go. If you have a team, they would need to know where you guys want to go. If you have a fucking wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, I'm not in this world anymore. They need to hear from you, where are we going, for them to be able to trust you enough to be able to do something in some way, shape, and form. So like you need to be able to communicate and understand and know where you want to go in the first place. And that's a hard one battle sometimes, right? And the really cool thing about in sales, in marketing, and in life change in general is that we will follow a leader that will take us to the stage that we want to get to next. That's why you guys are here right now, right? You guys are here right now because you guys have chosen that there's something that either we have that you've seen us create or that you have a belief that we can help you get to where you want to go in some way, shape, or form, right? And as a consequence of that, you guys decided to follow the path that we are taking at the same time as well. This is no different for your clients. This is no different for your prospects who are looking at your audience for the lead that can take them to the stage that they've decided they want to get to as well. This is also, again, like if you guys have ever had troubles in your relationship because your wife is asking where the fuck you guys are going, you probably know what I'm talking about, right? Because there's a pain attached to a lack of clarity for someone in some way, shape, and form. And without that clarity, for the person, for yourself, for other people, and for the market as a whole, people don't understand the value that you can provide to them. So if people don't know where you are collectively trying to go with a team as a unit of some sort, as a service that you guys provide, if the people who are looking at your marketing don't know, as a consequence of working with these people, where can I go? Like what does working with these people unlock for me in some way, shape, and form? Or with like a team, like your own team, right? Like, why would I choose to work amongst the people that I am working with, as opposed to working with someone else or for myself or whatever it is at the same time as well? And if we don't know specifically where it is that we want to go, and we don't actually create a world where people who are around us can see themselves inside that picture well enough to be able to want to do something either with us, for us, or for fuck's sake against us too, right? Because we need a little bit of priority sometimes as well. In order to make great things, we need to have a level of polarity, in my opinion, at the same time too. If we don't know where we want to go, then that makes life really fucking hard for all involved. Through all the sessions today, you're going to get a level of clarity as to why people will follow you and want to do the things you ask them to do, be it team, be it clients, be it anything that is required to have a level of persuasion and influence and all that stuff as well. Do you guys kind of get what I'm talking about here in the essence that if you guys do not have the level of persuasion to get these people to want to fight beside you and do things with you and do all these things at the same time as well, then how likely is it that you guys are going to achieve the things with clients or team or friends or whatever it is in your life? Like, is it high or low?
It's low.
Low? Why do you guys say it's low?
Because you don't do it. You can't multiply that. You can't get to where you, like, we can get to where we want to be, like we're in some of these key people that I am and help us get there.
Very true. Very true. And something that I've noticed for a long time and all kind of stuff as well is like when it comes to knowing where you want to go and all kind of stuff as well, like that can be a hard one thing. And sometimes you don't have a fully planned out thing for the rest of your life, if that makes sense, right? But sometimes the next 6 months is totally fine just to get you through to understand what you want and all kind of stuff as well, right? And that's totally cool. The really cool thing about that is you can leverage that to the best of your ability inside your own marketing at the same time as well. So people don't necessarily need to know that you can take them for years sometimes. Like they just need someone to know that they can get them to the next stage and like get over the next number, if that makes sense. Right? Like some people are just so stuck on step one, they don't never get step two. Right? And that can be a huge help for you guys. Like specifically for teams, specifically for clients. Again, relationships can really come into that at the same time as well. And this is where like having a plan of some sort in place is really fucking important. So one of the things that I really want you guys to spend some time here with over the next 2 days is like working out what's the plan you guys want to implement over the next, say, 6 months or whatever it is, right? Because like if you guys don't know what you want to implement over the next 6 months, it's going to be really fucking hard. Almost every time you guys go to take the next step, it's like, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? And a lot of this is like, you will notice this show up in your life, and I'm sure many have or whatever it is in the past. Like, we go somewhere, you do something, and like it's like the yo-yo effect. You go up and down, 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 right? Where like you get to 30 grand and you're back to 80. It's like, fuck, whatever. Right? Oh yeah. Or you get ripped at the gym and then you eat like a fucking.
What's your business growth?
You eat like a fucking idiot and end up getting super fat and then judge yourself and hate yourself for all the stuff too, right? It's no different with your business growth, right? Like if you go up and down and yo-yo all this stuff, guess what happens? You judge yourself and you fucking hate yourself for it. I'm speaking about me here, right? Like if you guys don't understand it, that's cool. That it's a human behavior thing, right? But like for me, like I understand when that happens. Like none of you guys beat me up, but fuck me, I am like what Mike Tyson couldn't beat me up better than I could. Straight up, right? Like Mike Tyson could not beat me up better than I could. But listening to myself, right? I'm not over testing that. Just reference, I'm not over testing that. But the good news about that is that as humans, like that's a pretty common fucking thing, right? Where like we beat ourselves up for the things that we didn't do, right? Or the steps that we didn't take, or the things that we did let fall by the wayside, or the things that we knew we should have done better or whatever it is at the same time as well. So when it comes to getting what you want, being your team in your life and your financial endeavors in your relationships or whatever it is at the same time as well, right? Like you obviously fucking need to know where you want to go. Otherwise you just go around in circles and wonder why life sucks. Life sucks either way, right? Like you get to choose what you make of it. So at least have some fun with the stuff that you're doing and just at least go in one fucking direction. The second thing is like you definitely need to have a plan on how to do that at the same time as well. Because without a plan, you just like, again, go back in circles on some stuff too. But here's the question. How many of you guys know where you wanted to go and have a plan and still not done it?
100%.
Right? And still done fucking nothing. Like you know what to do. Like most of you guys here probably don't need maybe some organizational information or something like that, right? Like or information organized in a certain way might be really helpful to you guys in some way, shape, right? Awesome. Your clients, most of these guys are like, yeah, I know what to do, but they're just not fucking doing it, right? Most of them realistically already know what to do. There's just something that's stopping them from doing it in some way, shape, or form. Some of them know where they want to go, right? And they're looking for a leader to be able to create a world where they can see a bigger version of themselves through the way that you guys can say they can help you get someone. Right? Like that's what they really fucking want. Everyone who follows you in your social media, who opts into your ads, they're all looking for a bigger version of themselves and using you as a vehicle to get there in some way, shape, or form. They all like that's the only reason that they will pay you guys money. It's not to make life worse, unless it's a subtle form of personal sabotage where they're like, I don't know, they should just do BDSM, right? But the reality is that like none of these guys are looking at wanting to work with you or anyone else to make their life worse, right? And you guys want people to work for you, and they don't want to work for you to make their life worse, right? Everyone who comes to work for you as a team member, they have goals, aspirations, and dreams too. Hypothetically, if you live in a world where you think building a team is really cool, and you guys have the privilege of having the team actually want to fight by your side for more than 30 seconds, then we should probably take into account that like we should probably consider what is it that each person in our team want in their own personal life, and are they going to be able to get that in the vehicle, in the opportunity that we have to be able to provide them here? Much like we're saying with a client, is our opportunity vehicle going to actually create the things that they so deeply say that they want, need, desire, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Are we going to help them get away from the things that they don't want? Are we going to help them get toward the thing they do? Similarly with team members. Again, I go back to relationships, similarly with a fucking life partner, right? Like no one gets into a relationship because they go, I love my life, right? Like no one goes, oh, I can't. You know what? She's the one I want to do the most. It's very open. Maybe you hear someone from pubs there and you're a fucking idiot, right? Same thing like in Jeff Marsh, like yeah, maybe in Australia someone's a lot more of it, right? Pissed idiots all the time. Just the truth. But the reality is that like no one would want to do anything to make our life worse, right? And our clients depend on us to be able to meet the commitments that we said that we would to make their life better. Is that accurate? Right? Because what happens if we don't? Then they would want to leave us, wouldn't they? Right? What happens if we promise something to our partner and it doesn't happen? Maybe 2 or 3 times you'll get away with it, right? Because they love you and they'll give you a whole pass and whatever fucking dumb, stupid decisions that you made, whatever it is. And then they get to work like, I can't do this. Team members are the same, right? Like they only say yes to working with you because they trusted you in some of them. And the only way to lessen that trust is to not do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, right? The biggest way to build trust is to do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. We have like 5 core values in our company. That's number 1. Right? If we do not do what we say we're going to do when we say we're going to do it, what happens on if someone doesn't do something that they said they were going to do, like on our team? Do they ever like feel good about that afterwards?
It usually doesn't last very long. Get self-corrected really quick.
Either self-corrected or they're like, hey, one of my favorites is like, how was it 4 hours? Right? How was it? Like not 401, like our team.
What was that? How does it fall? Is that what it feel? Oh, okay.
Right, like for us, it's like the huddle is at 4 p.m. for us, right? Not 401, not 402. And like if you come before 402, like it's not. Can you be better next time? It's like it's all good, man. You won't do that again because you might not be here next time if you do that again, right? Because we do what we say we're going to do and we say we're going to do it, and not because of a lack of, not because we don't like the person, or because being 2 minutes late is a bad thing, but like it's one of those things where if we don't respect that boundary, then every other boundary that we have is going to be disrespected at the same time as well, right? And we want to live in a world where we do what we say we are going to do when we say we are going to do it. Because if we not do that, then the people around us are not getting what they want. Clients, team, family, but neither do we, right? So holding people to a higher standard, or be it clients, be it anyone else around us, is really fucking important, right? So once we know where we want to go, and what the plan is to be there, then we must hold ourselves to a high standard at the same time too. And why do some people still not do the work though? Why do they still not get there is the question. Does anyone have any ideas as to why?
Uncertainty.
Uncertainty? Okay, that's sometimes, yes. Anyone else?
I mean, there's mindset stuff, like people who self-sabotage, people getting like stuff like that, like.
Sabotage, that sort of stuff, yeah, totally.
It's like a lack of focus. Like they can't do the, it's like how you're saying they know what they need to do, but they can't. They just, something's in the way of pulling back from doing it.
If the leaders are doing the same thing, they're not going to.
Sometimes that's not true. I agree. The leader doesn't always have to do the tasks, like I don't do admin work.
I'm saying if you show up late,
Oh, I never show up late.
that's what I'm saying. Like you,
But
the leaders out what they say they're.
if I do never show up late, it's like, hey guys, I'm closing a deal. I'll be there at 4:02, and I'll send a text prior, and everyone knows at the same time as well.
But that's what I mean. If you did show up late, then
Totally.
they're going to show up late.
Totally, yeah. Respect, 100%.
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree more, right? So why would we have a plan? And when we know how to get there, do we not do the thing? The biggest thing is like a lack of personal leverage, in my opinion. Right? Like how much time is it you guys put into the daily thoughts of like, if my client or my prospect does not do X, what's going to happen in their life as a consequence of not doing that, right? Like when I'm on a sales call with someone, I'm not thinking about the fucking sales calls that they need to get. I'm thinking about if they did not get these sales calls, what is it that happens, what doesn't happen as a consequence of them not getting those things? Like, why is it that it's important for them to even get those sales calls in the first place? And what happens if they don't, right? Like, how does not getting those sales calls affect the team at large? Do people now no longer have the ability to serve clients because they didn't get enough calls for their company? And now their team will leave. And as a consequence of that, that offer owner now has to sit there and wonder like, shit, man, I just like 4 people just left me, and they have to deal with the whole frustration of like not knowing where the certainty in their own life is right now at the same time as well. And as a consequence of that, there's 4 families now that can't actually get what they want for Christmas, whatever it is. Possibly, I don't fucking know, right? Hopefully people aren't that way, right? But as a consequence of not getting sales, something that's like, some people can't fucking eat. They have to steal, whatever it is, right? Because they need to sell things to make it work at the same time as well. And some of the stuff that they don't get if they don't do the thing that they're required to do, i.e. get calls or build a team or have the hard conversation with someone or whatever it is, right? Like, you guys ever avoid having a hard conversation with someone who builds up a lot of tension? It's arguing sometimes worse than you build a story that went fucking insane, and then you had the conversation, you're like, oh, there's nothing there. I just built the story up, and he wasn't even thinking about it at all, right? Because you create this whole internal tension thing. You hurt yourself over it, if that makes sense, right? So what does make people change is the question, right? Like, even if they all those things, but what does make someone change? In my opinion, I think that they have to decide that what I have now is not what I actually want anymore. Like, what I have today and right now is not what I actually want anymore. The really interesting thing is that everything you guys have at home right now and your day-to-day is exactly what you want. You guys might say that it's not. I want this, I want that. But if you want those other things, like your daily habits and behaviors of this stuff would actually be fully reflective of what creates that. And you would either have it now, or you would be much fucking closer than you guys perceive and believe that you are right now. And you would not have a level of self-sabotage, and you have a level of conviction about you being able to do it on a daily basis if you believe that's what you really want to do on that basis, right? And everyone in this room, up until right now, has everything that they want in their life. Otherwise, you have something different right now. Sometimes taking a moment to think about that and taking a look around and getting out of the vision in your head for a bit, looking around and going, is this what I really want? Is really interesting sometimes too, right? Because everything we have right now is a consequence of the decisions we've made so far. Where we are right now is what our past habits and behaviors have created for us. And how happy are we with those circumstances is the question. And the question I like asking myself is like, because the work you need to do is actually in what you regret not having done already so far. And in order for us to get the personal leverage that we want to need, we need to be thinking about, like, what do I regret not having done so far? That if I had just done, I would already be further ahead right now. I'm immediately seeing people starting to type and like things ticking inside their head right now, right? Every single day in the morning, the first question I ask myself is like, it's usually a gratitude thing of some sort, but it's like, what would I regret not getting done today? Is the question, right? Like, if my goal is to go to X, and I know that Y is the pathway there, what would I regret not doing today? And if I didn't do it, what's the consequence of not doing that? And am I willing to actually put myself in a position where that's something that I'm willing to live with for the rest of my fucking life? Because if I don't do it today, when am I going to do it? And don't get me wrong, there's definitely days where I'm not as collected as I'm speaking about right now. I'm a fucking lunatic. I promise you I am, right? I have every fear and sabotaging nature and doubt and all sorts of stuff as well at the same time too. But more days than not, I'm better than average. Let's call it that, because I ask myself, I'm not fucking 11 out of 10, but I'm better than average, right? And it's because I coach myself through this stuff on a daily basis. Solid 7. Yeah, I know. It's like, I'd fuck me. It would have been 85 people. Yeah. I don't know, maybe it's like, actually, you say that, but Americans love the straight accent. They really do. They love it. It's like, if you guys came to Australia, you guys don't need to look, you just need that accent.
Oh, yeah. In Australia, when they hear the American accent,
Absolutely, buddy.
now that is a country accent. That's what that sounds like Australian.
But the question is, right, like, if you guys already know where you want to go, like, where do your regrets live right now in what it is that you guys haven't done so far that you know that you should have been doing as a consequence of what you guys are experiencing in your daily life right now? Asking yourself that question, going through it deeply enough on a daily basis will create a world where you guys know, oh shit, now I have leverage on myself. Who was affected by my lack of insert whatever the fuck I should have been doing? And am I willing to accept that? Because if I'm not, you probably already know what you should fucking do, right? I think our best work is caught in our regret. And the next steps is caught in our regrets too. Because if you haven't worked out what you haven't done yet, that you know you should have, and build up enough leverage for yourself to just fucking do it, out of fear, out of frustration, whatever it is, who cares? People create momentum when they do the things they said they were going to do, when they said they were going to do. And if we expect our team to do all this stuff, and we expect our clients to do all this stuff, who the fuck do you think you are not doing it for yourself, right? Because if we don't have that level of having our own backs, and we can't expect our team ever to either. And we can't expect our market to ever to either. We can't expect our clients. In my opinion, I think the reason why so many people have a hard time going deep with people on sales calls if they take them is because they're unwilling to go deep with themselves. I am at my best when I've asked myself the question, what am I unwilling to do? And then I go through the thing I've been unwilling to do. Be it have a hard conversation with someone. Be it training team members when you feel frustrated and disappointed that they don't get it. It's fucking annoying. There was a demon coming out. So Zach's never experienced that. He's never got it. That's what it is. And it's like, what have you so far been so unwilling to do that you now have a story that you've built up that you aren't allowed to have it, aren't allowed to get it, or you don't deserve because you've been so unwilling to do it? If you can, and this is a daily basis thing, right? It's asking yourself these questions like, what have I been unwilling to do lately because I would just make everything change? I have the biggest difference in my life, and everyone else around me would have an amazing experience at the same time. So, and we'll get as close to the thing that we find so we want if that makes sense, right?
That's a daily question for you.
Fuck yeah, it is. Yeah, it absolutely is a daily question. Especially in the times when, like, you guys are, I'm sure Paris has shown you guys in emotional cycles change, right? I'm certain. It's one of his Bibles. The other one is the big week. Right? But when you're in the valley, you're usually in the valley because there's stuff you're unwilling to do or unwilling to address. It's avoidance of some sort. Or like this is as deep as the unwillingness for me gets to go sometimes, right? You know, when you're in the valley, the reason you stay stuck in the valley is because of resistance to being in the valley, because you don't want to be in it. Sometimes the unwillingness is being unwilling to experience the valley and not know, and the uncertainty.
Just because you're in the valley, it's just because you like, don't realize it, or like, why does that?
You don't get out of the valley until you actually accept that you're in the valley. And most people resist it like fucking crazy, so they stay stuck there.
Yeah, just sometimes you have to.
It's full denial.
Like, no, with every new skill you learn, there's like, I was chatting with Carl about this earlier today, right? He's like, in the beginning itself, it's really easy because you're ignorant. Okay, fuck it. You're gonna get it. Ask the questions, we get money. And then you get really smart.
I mean, it's later you start.
Because you're really smart there.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that you hear, like, oh, this happened last time, and then this happened, and then this happened, and like, it's great, this story, it's on my head, and when this happened, and this happens, like, now I don't know if I'm good anymore. Now I don't know if I'm good enough. It's not, is that another cough?
It's that Dunning-Kruger.
Dunning-Kruger, that's correct. The second you get too smart for yourself, you actually end up making things worse for yourself, right? Sometimes I don't know, like, one of my favorite things, and this is done out of love, not for myself or them in Dunning-Kruger and team, no context things.
Yeah.
Honestly, if they come through with a problem, give me facts, not context. You give me context, I buy into the Dunning-Kruger story that makes me feel like I'm now sucked into it, if that makes sense, right? What are the facts of the situation?
You do it to yourself.
Exactly. If you do it to yourself and you create a world where you're only looking at facts as opposed to the story. But yeah, no, truthfully, I understand like data-driven stuff is super helpful to stories at the same time too, right? One of our newest settings, he's actually really good at the whole. His numbers are great, but like he's sitting there going, I don't feel like I'm good enough. I'm like, okay, why? Because like it's a feeling like this. Oh, cool. So it's a feeling. You don't feel good. Look at the numbers, it's fucking great. And you're wrong.
Numbers is fine.
But like some people don't want to believe, right? They don't want to believe. This is where it's an unwillingness to believe that like things are okay. So one of the like this past week has been a full valley for me. The whole week's been about. And I pretty much all day, every day, I'm asking myself like, what am I unwilling to do right now? Because I need to like what I'm really doing when I do that is I'm building trust back up in myself by then going to do anything about what I'm going to do. Where most people don't get what they want because they don't trust themselves. Like that's usually the thing. You need to build up enough self-trust so you can be able to create what you want to do. With a lack of self-trust comes the fear, the doubt, the everything else. The other day, we're about to do the sales floor thing, right? Sorry, not the appointment setting call on Tuesday. And I asked like, what do the clients need right now? And that's where I came up with that like conversation flow thing and all the stuff as well. I'm like, whatever it is, don't tell me for everybody. And I said, you know what? No. If I'm unwilling to talk about Conquest, it means I'm unwilling to actually help people, right? So if it got to the point where that was the thing, like, cool, I'll talk about fucking Conquest because that means I'm willing to do what's necessary to help these guys. That's the thing on the other. Core value number 3 in our company is actually never forget what you're thinking about. And if I look at it and go, where the fuck is it that these people are right now and have I experienced this too? My frustrations are just because like, my ego says I should be doing better on the server in this conversation right now, right? And the thing that I really want you guys to think about, right, is like, where are your regrets right now? What do you wish you would have done this year that you haven't done so far? Is there stuff that you haven't done so far that you have eaten inside you, and every time it comes up, you avoid the conversation because you're so fucking scared of being exposed that you didn't do it when you said that you would in the first place, right? And that's okay if that's the case, right? Because there was something that was more important to you at that point in time to protect yourself in some way, shape, or form for you to do that. But the cool thing is, you get to choose what to do next. And the question I want you guys to consider is that with all the information that we give you guys over the next couple of hours, how much would you regret not implementing? And with, like, where you're going to be in the next 6 months, like, what would you regret not doing the next 6 months, right? And then the question is like, why did you get started in the first place? It's the thing I wasn't go back to. Like, why are you doing what you do now anyway? And I don't mean fucking running an agency, running a consulting business. I don't mean that, right? Like, why did you decide to go and do the things that you said you were going to do in the first place? Who was it to benefit? What was the leverage that you were trying to get with the thing that you were doing right now that you haven't achieved it, but if you just did the thing you wanted to do, you would be able to create a while, right? Because here's the cool thing. The more we do this work with ourselves, the more we can expect more of the people around us. The more we can expect of the people around us, because we've been willing to do this stuff ourselves, the more we'll actually be able to create in our life the freedom of choice and things that we want all to stuff as well. But for me, when I go down this like, why did I start doing all stuff that I want to do in the first place? After the 88 things that are lies, like I just wanted freedom of choice to feel like I was in control of my life and freedom of choice to do what the fuck I wanted. That's the real reason I started doing this stuff. Then the question is like, what am I doing on a daily basis right now that's actually sabotaging my ability to feel free, my ability to have freedom of choice, be financially, whatever the hell it is, if that makes sense? Or what am I doing to sabotage my ability to actually have control of things, right? Because we can control what we can control. And that's the question. What have we not been doing so far that if we just pulled all the layers away to start doing, and if we started doing, it would make all the difference? And is there stuff that you have been stuck on for so long that if you just did something about it, would give you guys that momentum to take you through the next stage, or addressing whatever it is at the same time as well? And if you guys want your clients, your team, your fucking partner to follow suit, this is where leadership actually starts. It's with you. If you guys actually suck at doing self-leadership, you can't expect anyone else. If you guys suck at self-leadership, you guys will be shattered when you have people around you who work with you who actually are great at self-leadership, because you feel like you can't handle it because they're too good. Or if you're in a relationship where someone's got their shit together and you don't, that doesn't usually feel that great, does it? Abandonment fees and all that stuff. Like, oh, what happens if they find out I'm not really that good? And then, I'll be exposed, right? I've been exposed. 100% I've been a piece of shit. I'm only a piece of shit. Taking a couple letters away. And sometimes peer support is really helpful at the same time too. This is why being in this room is really helpful, right? You have access to Faris, you have access to me, you have access to Kyle when he's here.
I love selling metal too much.
He does. He does. And the question is, right, like, this is the third event that we've done. I've seen some people skyrocket, and then I've seen some people stagnate, and then I've seen some people fall off. I could put all of it back in the conversation I have with you guys right now. Every bit of it. What were you unwilling to do to stop you guys from getting what you wanted? 100%. Right? Like that, because I study the human behavior as to why people get what they want. It's usually because they're like, man, I've got enough personal leverage on myself, and as a consequence of that, I do the things and I become the person that can create the outcomes of one at the same time. Right? And the question is, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people in this room. 2 will take this and run with it like crazy. 2 will fall off and do fuck all statistically. And then the middle ground, they can choose which camp they want to be in. So the question is, who do you not want to be out of those people? And what do you need to do with the information that we're going to share with you guys today and the next 6 months of the stuff you guys want to do? Which camp do you not want to be anymore? Because that's what you guys need to be focused on. And you guys need to be having a system in place on a daily basis of like reminding yourself of this conversation that I'm not having with you right now, that you guys are internally having with yourself right now. Right? Because I've seen it way too long. We've had 300 and something clients come through the program now. I wish this was the first question they all were asked. Which percentage of people do you want to be? The ones that did succeed, or the ones that stayed in no man's land that they're doing just fucking cruised along? And really didn't enjoy their life that much because of that at the same time too. Right? So look around the room and figure out which one of you guys is going to actually get what you fucking want. And if you guys are going to self-sabotage of any sort, make sure that the thing that you avoid is avoidance itself, right? If you guys are going to avoid shit and not do it, if you guys have a pattern of avoidance, something that's crazy that works almost every time is choosing, like, you already have a habit and behavior of avoidance. It's like, okay, cool, I'm good at avoidance. Like, I know that's a skill I've got that I'm really good at. How about I just choose to avoid avoidance? It works. The shit works. You guys laugh. Like avoiding, like if you have a skill, use it. Right? The really cool thing is that everyone in this room has the ability to be in that top 2. And that top 2 might just expand. But you have to not want to be at the bottom 2 more than you want to be in the top 2 to actually get there. And you have to not want to be in the middle ground just fucking scooting along. Like those fucking scooters that we have here in Arizona, they're pretty fun.
So fun.
If you're going to scoot on those things, right?
Okay. They speak fast.
They do scoot 15 miles per hour.
If we're those guys randomly on like a highway, just like enjoying the view, looking at things and everyone's like, oh, fuck. We're just like foreigners, like, this is great. Is that how you do it? That's not, I just want.
I want you guys to take a think about what you guys would need to have in your day-to-day, because everyone's is a little bit different, right? Well, what questions could you guys be asking yourself on a day-to-day basis, every morning, every night, that are based around where you said that you wanted to be in the first place, and what can you do to get personal leverage in yourself every single day for you guys to be able to actually do the work you said you were going to do in the first place. And I wanted to have this conversation first before we get into all the information that you may choose to just take in and just be really cool. And it could be like Netflix, or it could be the stuff that changes everything for you guys. Or none of it could be helpful because you already know what to do. But you still get to make the decision and choice at the same time as well. My strong suggestion is to do fucking work. That's my strong suggestion. The intention is to break for a little bit, unless anyone has any like things they want to share from that, questions, anything vulnerable anyone wants to share, awareness like that. You guys have to like just say for do something at the same time as well. Because it might help create a world where we get to do more deep work today and tomorrow. Is there any questions?
When you talk about avoiding avoidance, I know that's not like a joke, but I mean, like how, like I avoid a lot. So how do I actually avoid avoiding? Is that just a mindset thing? Is it a question that you're asking yourself?
Who within inside you? Who within inside you? Not out. Who within inside you is willing? Who within inside you is capable of avoiding avoidance? Because it's a character thing. Your habit and behavior are the things that are creating your avoidance in the first place, right? So it's a choice as to whether you do that or not. So like, who inside you is willing to make a choice? This is where you have to leverage yourself to do so, if that makes sense, right? Because like, you have to build up the case for like, if I avoid, right? Like, if what doesn't happen if I continue to avoid it? I don't get X, I don't get Y, I don't get this, I don't get that, right? Like, this is where building up that. I think half the time people get stuck in the day-to-day so much that they actually put themselves in a position where they stop reminding themselves the reason why they're doing this in the first place, right? Like, and when you're beaten up and this and that, and we've been watching an Uber show the past couple of nights, and I have been sitting there quietly on my phone writing down 15 reasons why I wouldn't want to do right now, and then how I will feel once I get that done. It might take an hour to get 15 out, just for context. But once I do that 5 nights in a row, I now have 75 reasons why. Came up with a framework called reason building a long time ago, which is like creating reasons why doing something is more important than not doing it. And I think that we suffer sometimes because we aren't creating enough of a story around the reasons to do it. Because we need to create a story around it. Because like we're going to have stories in our head. So we may as well create one that's going to actually be conducive to things that we want. Some people are motivated by pleasure, some people are motivated by pain. I am definitely more motivated by pain. But as a consequence of that, I don't take it as a negative, I take it as a personal fucking challenge. Because every man needs a challenge. Like deep down, every man needs a challenge to conquer to actually feel like he's a fight on himself. That's the truth, right? So when I see the pain, it's like, no, it's not like a, I think it's scary. Like sometimes it is, don't get me wrong. But I take it as like, cool, who do I need to be to look at that in the fucking eyes? Like it's a dragon, and I have a sword in my hand and slave, right? Like that's the right way I think I like that. And then like, what are the 1 or 2 things to do on a daily basis that would get you toward that? If all you did was that and nothing else, you were toward that in the first place. And then the question like, what am I unwilling to do? And like, ask that question 100 times if you need to. What am I unwilling to do? 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 And the trick is whenever you create that, whenever you get the tactical things, the unwilling to do, it's like do it right there and then, because it builds trust in yourself. I'm king of self-sabotage. This is why I have strategies on how to get out of it. Right? Like I've had to work hard at getting this stuff because it's fucking hard not getting what I want. Like it's actually trash not getting what I want. My socks are making, right? But we get the privilege of having choice every single day, right? Did that help at all? Yes. Okay, you remember that, right? What have you been unwilling to do, if you're willing to share?
So it's right now it's trying to frame my head around unwilling, because there's things that I want to do but I haven't been doing, and that's what I've been unwilling to do.
Which is what are the practical things?
Like the outreach. I
Okay.
know I can be doing more outreach, and I know I need to be doing it, but it's the thing that gets like swept under the rug in order to make content or something else. And then I do that and I feel justified. Like, oh, okay. But it's that feels like it's getting away from the actual reason I'm doing it all, which is to do outreach and get into discovery appointments and help people.
Totally.
So that would be probably the big one.
Usually why most people have an unwilling to do that's because of the fear of failure, right? Like, here's a great example, right? I'm terrified of training teams in this. I'm really good at what I do, like really good. But I'm terrified of training teams because if I get it wrong, then we have a self-created handbrake in the company, and it's really fucking scary, right? But if I'm unwilling to train them at all, how do things get better, right? I think the question for me in situations like that is like, there's a frame around. It's like, imagine if I train them and things go wrong. Then the question is like, imagine if I didn't train them at all. Like, how would things go if I didn't train them at all, right? It's like, imagine if I did this outreach and things went wrong. But then, like, imagine if I didn't do the outreach at all. What would happen?
Bad plan's better than no plan.
A bad plan is better than no plan at all. We went Black Adam the movie. That's what I took from that movie.
That's less than that.
That was the one lesson I took from that movie. It was like a bad plan is better than no plan. And I posted that shit on Facebook and some fucking monkey's like, that's the worst advice I've ever seen. I look at this page and the fucking broke, terrible life looking dude. It's like, oh, cool. I'll take advice from you. That sounds like a great idea. That's a bad plan. That's what I'm waiting. So, like, looking at who you're taking advice from some of those thoughts too. But that's something that's worth looking at, right? Like, if I did this a little bit wrong, like what if you didn't do it before, right? Like having a hard conversation with your loved one. Like, imagine if I do it and she wants to leave. But imagine if you didn't have the conversation at all, and you just let that thing fester and go to worse. Like things blow up, and maybe you end up on fucking tops. Because she stabbed you or whatever. Right? Okay.
Just like one on the what you're saying. You don't remind yourself about past times that you've done that in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Stories to confirm, like, because you're combating lies and you're feeling the truth, right? Remind yourself of past successes and past times.
This is actually really helpful too, because that's that truth is focus thing I didn't mention. That's worth mentioning too, right? Like, when you're in a sales slump, not slump, I don't know what a slump is.
That helps me so much.
Yeah, when you're in a sales slump, you know how to get out of it?
Remind yourself of past successes. Remind you how to build.
Remind yourself of all the sales skills you've had in the past, and really fucking well, all the results you have got in clients in the past.
It changes everything.
Yeah.
And when you make that a pattern, it's like you don't like sit in those like lies.
So why would people not decide to look at all the small wins that happen on a daily basis then?
It's not that important, dude.
Yeah, if wins that, fuck that, who cares, right?
It won't work like it.
But one thing that is really interesting, and like it's not interesting that it doesn't happen, it's just a normal fucking pattern of thinking. Most people would rather look at all things that aren't working because it gives them a reason to complain, right? Having a reason to complain gives you power of control. We all have control, right? But if you would look at the things that are going right and just do more of the things that are going right, and usually get what you want. And what's really interesting is like I keep people who if clients who are doing really well. We're talking like clients that have had six figures a month, like figure months on this stuff as well. They're like, oh, we're still progressing. I'm like, what's progress here? They're like, oh, we're not 200 grand a month. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah, it's not working for you, buddy. Fuck me dead. Okay. So what's not working, you monkey? They're like, it's like, okay, cool. So have you looked at the progress you've made so far today, right? Using the outreach example, right? Maybe you did outreach, but you didn't book a call, but the wing could be like, I didn't avoid today. That's progress, right? Like, just like half the battle, 50% of the battle is showing up. Some people say that 80% of it is like, you can show up and still be a fucking idiot as well. True. Right? I think that state's slightly flawed.
I feel like it's more applicable when you're just.
Yeah, when you're like, this is my first week in business.
Yeah, like it's
I think showing up on sales calls, like just showing up to the call is better than not showing up to the call. I think that's definitely something. But it's definitely showing up with good intent to all the things that you're trying to do is probably good. But progress is really important to think about as well, right? Like, what progress are we making? Right. And like, this is where I think a lot of people just refuse to act Well, it's partly skill-based as well. But like they don't want to look at it so much. They're like in refusal of looking at the progress that we have, right? Like it could be as small as like, oh my God, I got an opt-in and an offer today.
Yeah.
That means something I think worked. That's progress. What about that work? How can I do more of the thing that worked, right? Like with the people and sales thing, I'm always like, well, the things we look at with sales is like, why did people buy? So we know what the triggers were, what did they purchase all the stuff to, and why was that the case? And then why did people not buy? But if you keep looking at the reason why people didn't buy a lot of the time, as opposed to the reason they did, you will just create a world where you have nothing trigger. Where it's like, oh, I'm really bad at this because I didn't do this. And the micro wins on a daily basis are really, really, really good. My end of day, like self-report is like, what are the highlights from today? Treat it like a sport. What's the highlight reel from today? Because if you can work out the highlight reel and like internalize, oh, that went good. The thing that helps me a lot is because there's areas where you're like, and even if you get the highlight reel, you'll still sit there and go, yeah, but we didn't progress in this area. I always look for the highlight in that one area. That's where my highlights have to come from. It's the area that I'm unwilling to find a highlight out of it, right? It's like, it could be the smallest thing, but you just have to, like, it's the self-trusting and proving that you can do it at the same time as well, right? The question after that is, what could I have done better today? Behavioral change question. What could I have done better today is a great behavioral change question. Because if you can do that, then you create a world where you're assessing yourself on a daily basis. And usually you can create a task list and you can do those things before you go to bed. And then you haven't gone to bed not having won the day completely.
You asked the same question. I wasn't unaware of this. It's just so stupid. Well, it's just, we started focusing on NRTRL, and last month we pulled 3 people out of the pipeline that had been in the pipeline since February, November, and I'm like, can you not get more within NRTRL? Instead of 3 people that had been stuck in our pipeline for over 6 months. It's like, I didn't even connect that. Like, it's so obvious, it's stupid. It's like, oh, he needs to be better at that. I need to be better at that. There's people in my pipeline, because I don't know who they are. That's what I just said a few minutes ago. I forgot to tell you that the 3 people that we signed up last month were straight out of the pipeline.
Nice. So you didn't have to go.
But it's just like, I don't sit in this, right? So sitting in this daily, like, that's why I asked if this is daily for you.
100%.
Almost more than daily. It's like,
No. So what's really interesting is, any of you guys read The Power of One More by Ed Milet? Super good book, right? Super good book. One of the best things that I found with it in that book is like he talks about his days. And his day, he has 3 days in one day. Yeah. 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. Right? 3 days in one day. When I'm in it, and I'm like, we're in a growth period. Can you hit the stadium call? When I'm really in it, like, I'm in the thick of it. I'm dealing with 88 different problems on a daily basis. I'm like Jay-Z, but not enough problems in their fucking online, right? Sadly, bitches ain't one. The way I manage my daily is like, I do the morning questions and the night questions 3 times a day. Because like by midday, I'm like, what's my highlight reel so far today? Where have I already progress right now? What could I have done better in the past 6 hours? And then what would the next 6 hours look like if I were to win them? Like, what would make the next 6 hours great, right? Because every day, like, I create a list of things that would make today great. Like, what would need to happen to make today great? What would need to happen so I wouldn't go to bed and regret today? Yeah, I expect this intensity after that.
yeah, that question gets asked like 12 times a day.
Easy.
Oh, sometimes like, I was going to talk about the question.
I love you, dude. What would need to happen so when I go to bed with regret today? I think that was originally, I remember speaking to you about this years ago. It was like, what would you need to do so you don't wake up disappointed tomorrow?
Yeah, that's where it all started from. I remember there was like a list so that this, I remember that.
Right?
Use it a lot.
Like, what would need to happen so you don't wake up disappointed tomorrow? Just notice, all these questions are consequence questions you would ask someone else in the sales floor. Have you considered that you have to sell yourself every day on doing the work?
The amount of valleys that question gets.
Right? Like, self-leadership is pretty much just you running yourself through a Salesforce script a couple of times.
I actually think that's the #1 reason I did really well
Yeah, I remember because we spent so much time on the like behavioral change stuff.
100%.
Right?
Well, I remember how there's like SOPs and jargon. Like it was this stuff that till this day, like that what am I avoiding at the moment? Like the fear questions, they're just like part of me right now, and it's the thing, man. It's the thing.
This is the stuff that actually makes change. Why I laugh and you looked at me funny when I laughed before is there's a sign over there that says nothing changes until we have enough pain to make it change. I'm like, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today. I'm like, it's a sign.
I was gonna ask you that because you said you are either motivated by
Pain or pain, yeah.
or pain motivated, right?
Good.
So what if
Knowing that's helpful.
yeah, but what if you put in a position where how do you manage pain? Because what if you put in a position where you need pain to move forward, but also you see like, oh, this pain is too much. I will not be able to handle, so then you will move.
Right out of the playbook. Right, and this is out of the fear playbook. This is out of the fear. What if I can't handle it? So, you ever read a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway? Feel the fear and do it anyway. Right? It's a book by a woman named Dr. Susan Jeffers. Right? The book essentially talks to you about the 3 different layers of fear and where it all comes from. And essentially, the whole premise of it is to chunk down all the reasons why you are scared and where they really come from, essentially, right? And you're right. Do you know where they all end up at? I can't handle it. Every fear comes back to I can't handle it. 100% of fears come back to I can't handle it.
Yeah.
I really took a big swing to this book. The second time I read it, I was hiring our first appointment setup. I was scared shitless. I'm like, I'm not good enough. I am a piece of shit. But this was the self-talk. Truthfully, this was the self-talk, right? And there was a line in the book, and as I'm having the self-talk, and do you know what the line of the book was? What if it did work out?
Mm-hmm.
And then I went and got a pen, and I wrote those letters on my hand. And it just so happens that I did that every single day for 2 years and decided, I'm fucking sick of writing this thing. I'm gonna go and get it tattooed. But I also avoided getting this tattoo for a long fucking time too, because I was unwilling to commit to myself. Because if I put this on my skin, it means that I can't sell it.
Get it. You get my That's probably what I'm unwilling to do right now.
Right?
Just commit, because I've been thinking right now.
But the thing is, right, I didn't get this for 2 years. I knew that I needed it. Right? This this here is my connection to a belief that I'm bigger than I believe that I am. This is my belief system. Like, it's either I do this or I die, right? Putting this on my skin was like a commitment to myself where I'm like, I can't not be the best version of myself most days. Not fucking as perfect as I can be today, but I'm not perfect, right? I can't be the best version of myself most days and have this on, and I can't not be the best version of myself most days and have this on my skin. The amount of internal tension that creates for me, oh, bro. Talk about hating yourself. Fuck me. But it puts me in a position where it's like, with all the fear and all the stories and all the things that are coming up inside your mind's eye right now that will make you think that things aren't going to work out, would I be willing to just do the fucking thing in? Because the whole book is called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, right? So if you can't handle it, cool, do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Now you take this fear playbook and pair it with the meaning playbook. You got yourself a cocktail of knowledge. Never stay stuck in life. Because a lot of the time we can just draw meaning from like this to make it like, oh, I can't do this. That means this. That means this. That means this. That means this. And then suddenly you feel like a piece of shit. You just take away the meaning. You're like, oh.
Another great question that I ask, and it's not every day, but it's probably once a week where I spend 30 or 40 minutes thinking about it. It's like, where am I settling right now? First started when I was 19, when my back is never settled for second best. It's the consequence of settling for second best now is like, I'm fucking piece of shit, right? And more days than not, like truthfully, I think that the results that I've created are great. The internal belief that I have is fantastic, but it all comes as a consequence of like addressing the negative first. If I address the negative first, the negative can't creep up on me. I get to control the negative. I get to control the story if I address it first, right? And as a consequence of that, I get to choose what to do with the negative. Do I let it eat me, or do I get to play with it? Okay, you're my little bitch there. And I'm not like that every day. Some days I'm like, it's pizza day, I'm staying in bed, fuck about it. Those days are needed too, just for reference. I think they do. Superman has off days too. Okay. 100%. And so a lot of the time, most of these questions are asked not while I'm working, unless it's like the unwilling questions sometimes, like while I'm working, it's like when you feel the avoidance come out, it's like, okay, what am I able to do right now? Just fucking do it and just like get it done. Because like otherwise I'll be pissed off. But the thing is, the behavior change that you create at that point in time creates the internal belief that you can do it again and again and again. It just gets easier. Or you become more committed. It's one of the two. Were you about to ask something?
No. One of the things that I regret from this year is I've wasted my nights.
In what way?
I'll just like dip out and watch TV and have cigar or whatever. It's just like internally I'm torn up about it. So whatever, it's fine, but it's not because internally I'm torn up about it, which tells me that something has to change. I look at stuff like this and I'm remembering that I used to know a lot of this and I haven't been doing it. It's like on paper, what do I regret? If I think of like, I don't have a lot, but then when I get to the deeper stuff, it's actually going to promote the bigger change. It's like, well, there is a lot. I have the VA, I have this under, I have the people. So on paper, it's like, oh, there's not much more right now. Like it's just growing, but when you get to this, it's like, oh no, this is, and that's going to promote that greater change.
Right.
And then give me peace, which is then going to, by doing this work, fill me with rest, with peace, versus sitting there and feeling bad about myself. And then this crazy cycle of the next day I wake up late and I'm staying up late and just like sabotage, but then still being highly productive.
Yeah,
You're exhausted.
it's really interesting, right? Like the first place I look at someone when they say they're in a rut is like, how's your sleep? How's your training regime, like going to the gym? How's your food at the moment? Because if all of those three things are off, I can expect you to be having a shitty day at work because your gut health is probably fucking terrible too right now.
I've been cutting all year and I've gained 15 pounds.
You've been what?
Cutting.
Cutting all year and gaining 15 pounds.
It doesn't make any sense.
Stress.
That's what I've come to realize.
Yeah.
It's 100% because I'm sitting there at night,
Yeah.
my sleep's whack, all this stuff's whack. I'm guilty. I feel
Guilty, yeah. Guilt is my favorite.
absolutely.
Guilt is my favorite because everyone experiences it, but they just don't know how to do
That's
that.
the noise that's like telling me like that's the most like listen to it.
Totally. For the intent and purpose, and I know that you'll connect with this, like that's God telling you to do that, right? Like, because I know that was something you'll connect because you don't understand it, right? Like that, like the silent voice inside telling you about the things that you should regret, whatever it is, it's like whatever higher power, be it consciousness, be it God, whatever the fuck it is in any way, shape, or form that you guys tend to believe in or not believe in, your inner voice in that context is the thing that's actually true. When it comes from anywhere below here, it's true. Anywhere above here, it's fear and ego.
It's fear.
Fear and ego. If you hear a silent voice inside come from below your neck, it's true, it comes from source. If it's above, it's your brain trying to be smart about something and your ego is way out of whack.
There's like things that you just know.
Yeah, it's a knowing.
There's stories that I just like, I can buy into lies in my head and I can twist anything, revert anything.
Like if I ask myself a question, I ask for because I ask myself questions, right? I want the response from here, not from here.
Yeah, that's the whole. I'm just the gut versus the head.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate where it comes from?
Practice.
I was gonna say you didn't get here overnight.
No, practice.
Years. So there's no gift.
Yeah, there's no get rich quick scheme.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's but for this too, right? Like
I almost feel like 4 years.
I picked up my first self-development book when I was 26. I turned 33 last week or week before, whatever it was, right? So like I've got 8 years direct of like asking myself hard questions on a daily basis, if that makes sense, right? And don't get me wrong, some days above the neck is so much louder than below the neck, right? And when that happens, I have either been avoiding too much or I'm exhausted. It's deciphering which is more likely that you have to work with, if that makes sense. Sorry?
So good.
Sell the metal. Just sell the metal. That's just fucking just.
You're just bragging on me right now.
So what do you do for work? I trigger people for a bit.
Omar and I talking about therapy yesterday. I was like, I'm just going to come to
The therapist like me.
Because like this is the stuff that actually creates change. Skills and tactics and all sort of stuff are fucking great if you're gonna do them. Right? If you're not gonna do them, then like what's the point?
And when you say two people will succeed, we'll use the stuff two people won't, and then the middle people get to decide. Like some people are willing to do this, and then those are the people that are going to be the successful, right? Some people will just look at skills and they'll be like, oh, I have to just go better at appointment setting or whatever. Like that matters, but this is the foundation.
I had a conversation with a new prospect, a new client just recently, right? And I signed him up. And I said, oh, cool. Yeah, like he's already $100,000 bill of business, right? And as he came in, he's like, yeah, here's the thing, this. I'm like, oh, you're actually too smart.
Yeah.
Like you're too smart right now.
Yeah.
And you're trying to skill yourself out of a personal worth problem.
Personal what?
Personal worth. You're trying to skill yourself out of a personal worth problem.
What made you think that?
Because I've been there myself. And I know what that feels like. He lost his personal value. He didn't see value in himself anymore. And he's like, you can create a prison around yourself with skills if you don't create a personal value for yourself too.
Like you're using the skill building as an excuse to
it's armor. Skills in once you get too smart and you're not doing the things that actually make it work, right? Like, I value myself enough to use these skills effectively at the same time. And usually, like this guy, he was looking at everything in the context of like, he wasn't making the decisions he needed to make on a daily basis. And he was so confused because like, I'm so skilled. And he was beating himself up because he's a highly skilled, really smart human that just wasn't doing the work we're talking about here right now, essentially, right? And again, I just feel like I'm not progressing. 100 grand a month, not progressing. Okay, buddy, no problems. So you just haven't valued what you've done so far at all. And you haven't valued who you've been able to be to get there at the same time too. I don't care if you're 2 grand a month, you have to value that you got to 2 grand a month. You were the one that got you there. If you got to 60, you were the one that got you there. You have to value that. It is gap and it's exactly what it is, right? This guy was so in gap that he wasn't addressing the game at all. Then he came in, and because he committed with a credit card and we spoke a belief into him, 26 grand since he signed up last Friday. Just reference. Right? Because he valued himself enough to put money down and say, I'm just gonna fucking do it. Sometimes financial commitment is helpful, sometimes too, right? Because you will do so much more to not do something than to gain something. So you put money down, it's like, I'm gonna do something. Grant Cardone, it's like, I don't do anything. I love opportunity. Grant Cardone is fantastic, right? It's a bit too much for some people, so much for others. The essence, sorry, like the strategy, he's like, just clear your bank account out, no matter how much you're gonna have to do something, right? I say, so shit, right? Like, if you guys haven't watched Undercover Billionaire, so good to watch. It's so good to watch Grant Cardone suffer, trying to do what we're doing.
Almost throw the towel, give up.
Multiple times, right? It was so nice to watch, not because Grant isn't, like, not because I want to see Grant fail, but it's like, he's like, no, we all experience this.
What's he doing that I've never heard?
Undercover Billionaires, where they put Grant Cardone into a situation where no one knows who he is and no one knows what he does. And with no money at all. They give him like $100.
Yeah.
He has no place to stay, they give him a car and $100. And they say, go make $1 million business the next 90 days.
He decides to make a digital marketing agency.
And he decides to make this market. It's Grant's part of it. There's about 6 hours of Grant stuff. It's so worth watching because you watch it because like they're filming, they're watching him. The whole thing is him going, I just need a fucking win, man. This is so tough. It's fucking hard. I forgot how hard this is.
He gets shook.
He gets shook hard. There was times just like, I just want to fucking go home. I don't want to fucking do this anymore. Take the fucking camera out of my face.
That makes, wow.
Right?
Yeah, that's real.
The first season's good too.
What's his name? Fucking, I
can't remember his name.
Oh, so it's a different person each season, is that
so there's 3 people in each season.
The first season was one dude.
Oh, Glenn, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
The second season of 3.
Yeah,
That and the 2 girls, right? That's right.
It's a good show.
It's really good just for some perspective too, right? Like for the average Joe watching, like, who's this guy? But like for us, it's like, oh, we're on this journey. We know what needs to experience in right?
Because they're all people that have already made it,
Right.
so it's not
Yeah,
like
they're
it's not
going
like
back
just
to
taking
ground
somebody like
zero.
me and throwing, hey, yeah, make $1 million, right? So it's like that's it.
Go try. But this is the difference. Highly skilled individual, now so skilled that people aren't listening, if that makes sense. And he, like, because what was his name? Lewis. That's what his name was, right? They gave him a fake name. They gave him everything, right? And he said, like, because I can't use Grant Cardone, I have to steal Lewis. And Lewis has no value. Lewis has no value in the marketplace.
Shaved his head.
So he said, yeah, shaved his head.
Yeah.
Because he had to be on the cover of Human Impossible, right? Yeah, they put him in, where was it?
Something in Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, like fucking somewhere. He's like, he goes, I've never even heard of this place. Right?
Pueblo.
Yeah, Pueblo, that's it.
5,000 people.
But really good to watch too, right? Because like, you get an insight to watching someone who we all look at and go like, yeah, that could never be me. Then you look at it and go, oh, maybe you could be, right?
But like at the end, it goes, so it is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this is it.
Right? It's a really cool journey to watch at the same time too. I really wanted to open with this because I thought it would help a lot, because like this is truthfully, this is the stuff that actually creates change in my opinion. Like this is the stuff that makes me do the things that I need to do on a daily basis. And it's like that allows me the opportunity to attract people into my life who are willing to do the same. Therefore create better teams. Therefore have a relationship where not only do I feel valued, but I feel better in value with them. Like we create better because we're both as good as we are. Right? And on a sales call, if I'm on a sales call, like, you can't smoke screen me. I know what you're saying. I've been there, right? Like, if I'm selling now, like, I'm looking for the thing you don't want to tell me. It's like, oh, the second I get that, it's like, oh, that's what we're going. You're scared, get inside. I'm going to grab your hand. I'm going to hold your hand, and we're going to get what we want together. How do you feel about that? For the most of the people I'm speaking to anyway. For the people that are already doing, like, no, if we're already doing all this, most of them just lose their fucking personal value. And they're scared that they're not going to get to the next stage, or they're scared they're going to lose them, right?
That's so real. I'm just sitting here just scared. I want to do this continue here.
Because it is, but it's like it's so common, right? And we have to build up the story that it's like, okay, cool. What I have built is sustainable as long as we keep doing that, right? Like as long as X is done, it's sustainable.
Trust thing.
Self-trust.
Have that trust with yourself.
Self-trust is a fun topic.
I don't trust myself.
When I'm in a rut, posting is harder, but doing the post when I'm in a rut is something that I usually I'm willing to do, and it makes me feel like I'm progressing again. It's something that I've found has been really helpful, if that makes sense. And it has to be something that's actually deep down internally so that I perceive to be valuable as well, because I want my engagement. I want my clicks.
I think something that's made me feel pretty comfortable is knowing that even if I hadn't, like, if this offer didn't work out, at minimum, I know how to make 30K a month.
Easy.
No matter what the fuck I'm selling, like, I know how to do it.
100%. Same for me too, right?
That's like a layer of, like, kind of a safety net of confidence that I do.
And I know that as well. I just have identified that lie of like, what if it all did this? And it's like, why is this?
No.
I believe that. I believe that too. Like, if it all.
It doesn't go away.
So to change the question, but why is it still there? Who do I need to be okay and still move through this, even if that's it?
It won't go away.
Like, yeah, like it can be louder at times and quieter at times. I think. Yeah.
Damon John, he has
I had him last night. Oddly enough.
Yeah. He had a quote one time where he was talking about how the number one reason that he does what he does is because he's scared as fuck of going broke. Dude's a billionaire. Still gets up every day, does the work because he's scared as fuck to be broke because he's been there. All right, so it never goes away.
What was the question you just posed? What if instead of you said change the question instead of what if
Who do you need to become?
Who or what do I need to do?
No, what style is it? So it's like be who I am, right? Who do I need to be? What do I need to do to have what I want?
Who do I need to be?
Honestly, guys, like, as somebody who's been through this process
as a client and then now on the team, and I've also seen the success of a lot of people. If all you take away is the ability to game plan and approach yourself by saying, here's where I want to build, where I really want something. I want the choice and the freedom, I want this. And the way I'm going to do that is by getting fucking more clients, by just making sure I have more sales, by doing X, Y, and Z. And the things that I'm unwilling to do in that land right now are this, and this. And the things I'm avoiding are this, and this. And I would regret not doing at least these 3 things today. If you can plan this stuff and do this daily, if that's the only thing you take away without any skills or tactical stuff, legit, I promise you, you will win.
Have a reward system too.
Yeah. Take out a
Reward system of some sort is helpful as well. Like small daily rewards of some sort.
Yeah.
Like I can get X today if I do Y and Z.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure the reward system is actually a healthy reward. That's one.
Yeah, that's
Make sure it's a healthy reward.
He's been killing it. He's a meth addict.
Hey, something like the one slip to a person to get the work done, right?
That's literally what we hit 50K 2.5 months before I thought we were going to, and I just celebrated for like 3 months. a little
Excessive.
a little excessive. And then you wake up and it's like, oh no, you feel like now you just dug yourself in this hole.
New problem.
I appreciate you.
New problem. New problem unlocked.
We lost ground. Appreciate it. Stuff I've already done.
Feels good done with.
Sick. I love having a drum party nuts. That's where you said earlier, look at the dragon.
Challenge. Every man is a challenge, right? Like men are not men without a challenge of some sort, right? We need to feel like we're getting something.
Oh, it just feels right.
It feels right, right?
It's a primal instinct.
That's why they have fucking smash rooms where you can go and take a baseball and destroy shit, right? Because it just feels right to fuck things up, right? So I can find the dragon.
What are you guys' takeaways? The big things. 'Cause I have one big thing I took away, which is just like everybody here wants to be great. They want to meet great things, but it's clear that like it starts with conquering yourself first. Here's what the big thing I'm taking away is it's the same for everybody.
You are not as small as you've been playing. Something that came to me when I was in the gym session yesterday. You are not as small as you've been playing. And you are not as small as you are not as small as you believe or on a story you've been selling yourself when you're not as small as that. Think about it.
Sick takeaway, bro. Sick. Tap that shit up.
I'm waiting.
That shit up.
The really cool thing about everything we're speaking about today too, right? If you take this stuff on and you actually see you can change the market and stuff as well, like you want more of it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the thing. You're going to want more of it. And get addicted to that. If you can get addicted to that, you'll create a world where you actually get to enjoy what you want in your life. I started this off by saying right now you have everything you want in your life. Like I said, yeah, you do. Right now, up until now, you've given yourself everything you want so far. Because sometimes those things are, I want to complain, so I'm complaining, I got that, I got what I want. Right? Now we get to choose.